Sir.
Coming up, University of Ghana to consider discount fees to students for the 2022-2023 academic year.
On our side, we would have meetings and consider the appeal by the Parliamentary Select Committee. We greatly respect the committee for the work they did, for being very honest and transparent.
Also coming up, National Labour Commission summons staff of Northern Electricity Development Company, NEDCO, over calls for the removal of the managing director of the company. Still ahead, hundreds still mass up at the Nat Hall here in Accra to rectify challenges with computerized school placement system. And later, students of Yellow Crop or Senior High School forced to sleep on corridors and in classrooms at night due to the lack of enough dormitories.
One of our senior high schools, Ilokobo Senior High School, is in Sumanya proper, where for the past 1 week we have not had light. And having thousands of students on campus without electricity, it's difficult to guarantee the security of the students. Someone can sneak in and anything can happen.
Stay tuned as we bring you details of all that and more on the Citi Prime News, which is live across all our affiliate stations in the country. In the Western region, we're on Adrimpa 100.7 FM in Takwa and Beach 105.5 FM in Takrady. In the Bono region, we're on Greener 95.9 FM in Sunyani. In the Ashanti region, we're on Adrimpa 99.9 FM in Nkarie. In the Volta region, we're on Heritage 107.3 FM in Hohoi and Freedom 88.1 FM in Sugakopa. In the Northern region, we're on Radio Gaki 88.3 FM in Saboba. In the Upper East, we're on Quality 88.7 FM in Garu. And in the Northeast, we're on Nobia FM 98.1 FM in Nalurugu.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Grateful for your time this afternoon. We'll settle for the details of our stories now. The University of Ghana says it will engage its council to decide on whether or not to offer discounts to students on fees charged for the 2022-2023 academic year. The University of Ghana has been in the news over its fees charged this academic year as student groups, including the National Union of Ghana Students, accused it of charging beyond the 15% approved fee increment by Parliament. However, the university insists the fees were legal as it was based on the 2019-2020 gazetted fees charged. Pro-Vice Chancellor in charge of the school's academic and students affairs, Professor Gordon Awandari, in an interview with Citi News, says Parliament's Education Committee appeal for management to consider offering a discount on the 2022-2023 fees charge will be taken up by the university's council.
The University of Ghana has not done anything illegal. We've never done anything illegal. And we've been saying that. We've tried to explain this over and over again. And, it's like we couldn't get through to anybody. Now, the people who made the act have come out and basically exonerated us and told us that we are doing exactly according to the act. So please, I think that's the news that should go out there, that everybody should know the University of Ghana did not charge any illegal fees. We have never charged any illegal fees. And we are currently not charging any illegal fees. And I think that the media should go back to all the people who told you that we charge illegal fees and ask them to apologize on camera to the University of Ghana. I think that's the next thing we should do. On our side, we would have meetings and consider the appeal by the Parliamentary Select Committee. We greatly respect the committee for the work they did, for being very honest and transparent. Before we had a meeting, the students went to lobby them and gave them all kinds of misleading numbers and data. But when we went there and showed them the real data, they realized that we're not doing anything wrong. These are empirical facts. The data are there. So let's be factual in our reporting and let's hold people to strict proof. When they accuse people or when they accuse an institution such as the University of Ghana of illegality, let's hold them to strict proof. So we will be expecting a lot of apologies from the media and from all the people who went on TV and accused the university of illegality.
Meanwhile, Professor Awandari says the university is going to maintain high security presence on campus for a while following recent disturbances over the new residential policy.
The security are stopping them from doing what they want to do. And so we would continue to do so. We do not apologize for guaranteeing the safety of 99.9% of our students. We don't apologize for that and we will not stop. And by the way, this is a comprehensive strategy. We're installing CCTV cameras, as you'd see. We're going to install electronic access to the halls. And we're putting in a lot of measures for security in general. So this is not going to stop. So let's get used to it. Security would be high on campus for a while. Well, I think what we're trying to do is that, as you all see, and some of you asked questions, every year when the first years come, they get, stranded because we don't have enough beds for them. Some come from far away places. So what we're trying to do is that we want to prioritize the first years for accommodation. We don't have enough accommodation for everybody. We're still trying to add more beds. As you see, we have a hostel that's almost complete. We're hoping that by the next academic year it will be complete.
That was the Pro Vice Chancellor in charge of schools of the University of Ghana's Schools Academic and Students Affairs, Professor Gordon Awandari. Now, parents with their wards are still massing up at the Nat Hall in Accra to have challenges associated with their school placement resolved. Major among the challenges are candidates who have not been placed in any school. Government set up the School Placement Solutions Center to deal with candidates who had issues with their placement with respect to the change of school, no school placement, among others. City News' Kennedy Chumesi has joined me over the phone lines to give us more on this. Good afternoon, Kennedy. What is the atmosphere there like this afternoon?
All right, so Wilma, the situation here is similar to yesterday. Parents are massing up at the Nat Hall in Accra, which is the solution center for the school placement issue. And major among the challenges is parents whose ward did not get any school from the choice of school they chose. And as indicated by the Ghana Education Service, over 100,000 candidates will have to do self-placement because they could not be matched to their school of choice. And as a result, school resolution centers have been set up across the country to help mitigate all the challenges that parents will have to go through until the 27th of February, when the classes will officially begin in various senior high schools. Parents are worried. They are speaking to the appropriate authorities at the Nat Hall here to find out if there are challenges could be resolved immediately so they can go to the senior high school of their choice on Monday to begin the admission processes. So basically, this is the situation now at the Nat Hall here.
Now, what are some of the assurances that officials are giving them, these parents?
Yeah, so after I spoke to the one in charge, he indicated that we have more officials there from the senior secretary who are seeing to it that the challenges that parents are bringing to the national immediate address. They are here for a month. And even after the month, when the challenges are still there, they will still try their possible best to solve all the challenges. Now, key among the challenges, as I indicated earlier on, is the candidates who do not have schools. And then another one is candidates who want a change in their school. So, for example, I spoke to a parent who indicated that she had a school and her ward had a school in Ashanti region. And her ward was giving days instead of boarding. So she wants a change in school for her ward to be in Accra so that her ward can go to a day school. And according to her, she indicated that a change in school might even push further the child to a different place where he or she might not get the day as he or she is required. So you might get, for example, a Atomata school and you chose day school. You want to go to Atomata school and change from day to boarding. What they are saying is that, according to the parents, you can't get boarding at Atomata school, so you have to change the school and then move it to a different school. And moving into a different school, the parents now, even though you get a school, but maybe that might not be the school of your choice. That might be a different school, which might even not be a category A school, like a small category high school. So basically, these are the challenges. They are numerous. They come in they vary. Some also want a change in their gender status. Before registering, they were male. And when the school people come on that document, it's female. They want to change in reality its gender status. So these are some of the peculiar challenges that parents are bringing to the NASFOR for the senior school secretariat officials to get addressed before they can begin their admission processes at on 20th February, which is next Monday.
Now, like you said, schools reopening on Monday. Today is Friday. Is the Solution Center going to be opened all weekend?
Yes. So when for that, I can't confirm now. I'll have to seek more clarification. But per my interaction with some parents, they indicated that they won't be operating on the weekend. But I'll have to seek official response from the senior secretary as to whether they will be operating on weekends as well. But since they will be working for over a month, it is likely that they won't be working on weekends. But that is not confirmed.
All right. Thank you very much for that update. Also to News' Kennedy Chumesi giving us an update from the NAT Hall, where some parents have massed up to rectify some issues concerning the school placement system. Now, the Free Senior High School Coordinator in the Ashanti region, Owusu Brobe, has warned parents and guardians not to fall prey to the activities of some unscrupulous persons who demand monies from them with the promise of helping them resolve placement challenges. The admonition comes on the back of a situation where frustrated parents and their ward have been massing up at the region's resolution center and internet cafes to ensure they get admitted to schools of their choice.
One is a perception, though I've not seen that for a moment. People say they pay, but what we do here is very transparent. He was making an allegation that it is something like we've intentionally decided to displace the students so that they will come and pay for them to be placed. For that one, I dismiss that in no uncertain terms. It's not true. No one does that. No one has authority or control over the program that places the student. After the placement, we come and then we sit and then we decide to make these corrections here and there based on the issues that come. So no one is paying any money if the person has certain proof. Police is there, regional director is there, some of us are there, the person can make a report. Because we are not supposed to do that. We are not supposed to charge. It's for free. And every parent should know, sir, it's free. No one should pay for a peswa, for placement or coming to resolve your issue. We don't pay.
That was the Free Senior High School Coordinator in the Ashanti region, Owusu Brobe. We go over the phone lines to speak to our Bureau Chief for the Middle Belt, Edward Opong Mafo, who is at the Regional GS Solution Center, to get more on what is happening at the premises as well. Good afternoon, Edward.
Good afternoon.
Now, what are some of the challenges these parents are coming in with?
So the key challenges are, as the first one, some of them have, as the students have been placed in schools that say that they didn't choose any of such schools. Some are also indicating that the regions that they have been placed, they have also been sent there as day students. And so since they are not from, for instance, some people in the Ashanti region are saying they have been placed in schools in the central region. Some have been placed in schools in the Ahafo region and all that. And so these are the issues that they have. And with these ones, they were saying that if they had been placed in these schools as boarding students, they wouldn't have had problems with that. But most of the people that had issues with their placement were saying that they have been placed in such schools outside the region as day students. And so that was the main issue. So some were with their parents and guidance, and basically trying to find out how this issue can be resolved. And others also were not happy with the entire arrangement with respect to schools that were given them, although some were within they felt that, well, based on the grades that they had and conversations with some of their friends, they felt they had better grades than their colleagues, and were also the schools that they had were just the same schools that they were looking for, but they didn't get such schools. So basically, these are the concerns that people have been raising, and so the officers have also been trying to offer some form of explanation as to why that is the case. And so for some people, they even feel that it could just be a deliberate attempt that's been orchestrated so that people will engage in extortion and all that. But this is something that the Free Senior High School Secretariat has dismissed. And in fact, one we spoke to earlier, that's Mr. Usubrobe, he is insisting that that is not the case. And so they're saying that once there are genuine concerns, they'll find a way of addressing them. And so the Resolution Center, which has been set up in the region, for instance, they are going to be here for well over a month. Although school has, that's in the resumption date for various schools haven't released. They're saying that, well, they are going to be there even if school resumes and students are not satisfied with the various places that they have been placed. They are going to ensure that all issues are resolved. And so it's just a way of trying to meet them halfway. And that has been the situation here.
Thank you very much for that update. That was our Bureau Chief for the Middle Belt, Edward Opoma, for bringing us an update of the school placement system, the challenges that some parents and wards are facing in the Ashanti region. Kweku has more stories.
Now, in other stories, 11 assembly members within the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, AMA, have raised concerns over issues of mismanagement of the assembly by the mayor, Elizabeth Saki. The assembly members accused the mayor of nepotism, abandoning uncompleted projects and misuse of assembly funds in a petition addressed to the presiding member of the AMA and copied to the Greater Accra Regional Minister. The aggrieved assembly members want the mayor to be called to order. Speaking to City News on condition of anonymity, one of the petitioners says they will be forced to file a vote of no confidence against Elizabeth Saki if nothing is done to address their concerns.
He has been in seat for over 2 years and he has never fulfilled any of her promises. We have had series of meetings with her to no avail. We have decided to come out publicly. He is not up to the task. We want her to finally tell us something. And this time around, it shouldn't be by guesswork. All the electoral area projects that is due to the respective electoral areas, it should be ready to, give out the funds for the project to be done in the respective electoral area. Or else, she should just go for a new AMA boss to come. So we are not demanding for a removal just like that, but we want her to take an immediate action.
If the assembly doesn't have money, how would it fulfill those promises?
The assembly, they say, is owing, but we know the amount of revenue that hits the account on a weekly basis. And it is very possible, because you can't be collecting money from electoral areas and then you'll be using the money for other things else. The most important thing is where you are collecting the money from, you should be able to do certain projects. We know the amount that hits the account on a monthly basis can cater for the projects we are talking about.
It's not the case that the AMA boss has actually misappropriated funds for which you people feel she should go.
For that one, we don't have any evidence against her without respect. But the traveling too is too much. And when she is traveling as the AMA boss, she doesn't go with any rep from the assembly members. And that has not been the case. She has employed her son, and we are now, everybody now calls the son deputy mayor. We shouldn't be so. The son was a local government staff, and after winning the mayor, he let them transfer the son from wherever municipal the son was to AME. And wherever he goes with them. As I speak now, they are in America. She has traveled more than 15 plus times.
So we have there an assembly member of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly speaking to City News' Fred Duho on condition of anonymity.
This is still the Citi Prime News broadcasting live from our studios at Adabraka in Accra. Still ahead in the bulletin, National Labour Commission summoned staff of Northern Electricity Development Company over calls for the removal of the managing director of the company. We'll bring you details of that and more shortly. Do stay with us.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Ethiopian Airlines, the largest airline in Africa, will from March 26 operate 11 flights to and from Ghana. Fly on 4 new evening flights from Accra on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Now you can travel with more convenience with Ethiopian Airlines night flights. Depart Accra in the evening and connect same morning to Ethiopian's vast African network and other popular destinations such as Dubai, Mumbai, and Delhi in India, Istanbul in Turkey, Tel Aviv in Israel, and many other European cities. Passengers traveling on the night flights on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays will enjoy special discounts on air tickets and additional baggage allowance. Book your ticket on ethiopianairlines.com or contact your preferred travel agent. You can call 020-201-3416 to book now. Ethiopian Airlines, the new spirit of Africa and a Star Alliance member.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Many thanks for staying with us. We'll continue with the bulletin. And the Deputy Lands and Natural Resources Minister, George Mrekuduka, has expressed satisfaction with the improving state of the downstream portion of River Ankobra, which has for over a decade suffered serious pollution from illegal gold mining activities. Speaking to Citi News during a visit to the River Ankobra in the Elembele district, the Deputy Minister, while crediting the current state of the river to government's regulatory and monitoring efforts, assured of putting in place more work to see similar improvement with other river bodies.
See a section of the Ankobra getting clearer as far as the turbidity level is concerned, and that is not to say all the river bodies in Ghana are clean. No, not at all, far from that. But it's some sort of encouragement for us to emulate, especially the efforts that the respective district chief executives have done and the river wardens. They have been patrolling at least here for quite some time, and I'm happy to announce that the Ankobra, the downstream part of Ankobra, is getting clearer. We want to have same and also do same for Pra and other river bodies.
George Mrekuduka is Deputy Lands and Natural Resources Minister.
Let's take you to the Ashanti region, where the Asokore Mampon District Court has granted 100,000 Ghana cedis bail to 2 persons arrested for allegedly trafficking some foreign nationals to engage in begging in Ghana. The accused persons, 32-year-old Zakaria Musa, a driver, and a 28-year-old Bashiru, an agent believed to be trafficking Nigerian nationals to Ghana, were arrested on Monday. Citi News' Ashanti regional correspondent Hafiz Tijani has more.
The intervention by the Asokore Mampon Municipal Assembly led to the arrest of the 2 persons after some 45 Nigerian nationals transported to Ghana were left stranded. Although the nationals, both adults and children, insisted they were transiting to Ivory Coast from Niger, the driver and his accomplice said Ghana was the final destination. The nationals were repatriated and the 2 persons were also detained by the police to assist in investigations. The accused persons appeared in court on Thursday and were charged with conspiracy to commit a crime and human trafficking. Counsel for the accused persons prayed the court to grant his client bail, but the court insisted it's needed to be convinced that they were not a flight risk. The court later granted 100,000 Ghana cedis bail with 2 sureties, and one has to be justified by an official of the Nigerian consulate in Ghana.
The case has been adjourned to 16th March 2023. Hafiz Tijani, Asokorimampon District Court, Ashanti Region.
Now, the West African Network for Peace Building, WANEP, is calling on the Upper East Regional Security Council and the Security Council of the Boko West Municipal Assembly to increase the presence of security, especially to unmanned border routes in the area. WANEP, in a report on the Boko crisis, believes this will prevent any security infiltration, curtail the gunfires, and protect lives and properties. My colleague Sami Yafi joins me in studio with details of the report. Good afternoon, Sami. Quickly run us through the details of this report.
So this is a report released by the West African Network for Peace Building, as you said. So it focuses on the recent Boko crisis and the number of casualties the incident has recorded just between January and February. The date for this particular report is on the 6th of February 2023, and it gives a rundown of the activities or the incidents that have caused a number of deaths within the Boko municipality. And it says 10 persons were reported dead in the renewed clashes between residents and some alleged military personnel in Boko. On January 31st, 2023, 2 community civilian members were allegedly shot by military persons, and on the next day, a similar incident by the military resulted in the death of 8 other persons. 7 of the dead are reported from Sangu community within the Kusasi area, whilst the other 3 persons who died were killed in Boko Township, which is predominantly a Mampusi area. It says, whilst efforts were being made by relevant stakeholders to address the conflicts in the area, some further killings have been reported within the municipality. It further continues that a man was killed in Sambugari Road by unknown gunmen on the 6th of February 2023. On the same day, some criminal elements allegedly attempted to blow up a major bridge in Boko with an improvised explosive bomb, but were not successful. It continued that on the 7th of February 2023, around 5:15 p.m., unknown armed men alleged to be Mampusis alighted from a motor tricycle and started shooting at a group of men who were seated at a lorry park close to the municipal police station. The incident resulted in the death of 2 persons on the spot. 3 commercial drivers, 2 Akan and 1 Bisa, who had loaded their vehicles and were to leave Boko Township, met their untimely death on the highway, with several other passengers sustaining various degrees of injuries. Now, a number of Kusasi houses were also alleged to have been touched as well during the night of the 8th of February 2023 at Karima, is a town within the Boko municipality. The report says it's alleged that the burning was carried out by the Zanga people. This led to a further sporadic shooting, resulted in the death of 3 more persons. The report continues that further shooting on Thursday, February 9th, 2023, resulted in 3 major deaths. A child of about 12 years old was also reported killed on Friday, February 10th, 2023. Reports from WANEP Ghana field monitors allege that the military was responsible during an exchange of gunshots between the civilians and military at about 12:40 p.m. at Shingantin. It is also alleged that about a 12-year-old child as a victim was part of the group that were reported to have blocked people who were going to Boko town. Further gunshots were also heard in the municipal assembly subsequently. So WANEP made some recommendations which they believe will help reduce tension in Boko and also end the recent killings in that particular town. It says WANEP reports appeal to the people of Boko, especially people involved in the gun violence and an act of criminality and other accomplices, to rethink their negative aspects of the actions on the ordinary people of Boko and on themselves, and it seeks the violence. It says the Upper East Regional Security Council and the Boko Municipal Security Council and the National and Regional Peace Council, as well as the specific security deployment, should intensify their collaboration among them and engage in all relevant traditional and religious representatives, ethnic leaders, youth, and other relevant institutions to help bring peace to Boko. I also recommend that the RESEC and the MUSEC should increase the presence of security, especially to unmanned border routes and communities, to prevent any security infiltration, curtail the gunshot, and protect lives and property. One also says is calling for a joint team comprising of the National Peace Council, the National Chief Imam, the office, and the National House of Chiefs to embark on some days working visit to the functions, to pursue the functions, to mitigate the violence and explore lawful avenues that are still available to them to addressing their grievances. In this approach, one believes that the Nairi, who is the overlord of the Mampurugu traditional area, has an important role to play in involving the Ampas, and the chief imam should prevail on him to sustain his peaceful influence on the conflict. Now, OneUp Ghana and other notable civil society peace-building organizations are also available to provide the much-needed technical and other forms of assistance in this regard. So these are a number of recommendations OneUp is putting on the table as far as this Boko crisis is concerned.
Thank you for that. That was my colleague Sami Uyafi giving us a full detail of a report by the West African Network for Peace Building, giving some recommendations on how to curtail the gunfires and protect lives and properties there. Kweku will bring us more stories.
Now, the lack of enough dormitories at the Yilo Krobo Senior High School has forced many students to sleep on corridors and in classrooms at night. A makeshift wooden structure constructed years ago to house about 70 students is currently being housed by over 1,000 students. The teachers and students are thus appealing that a structure started in 2012 to accommodate the students is completed. There is more in the following report.
The school, built in 1964, is located at Somenya in the Yilo Krobo municipality. It currently has a student population of over 2,000, with majority in the boarding facility. However, the current situation with regards to infrastructure has compelled students to convert their classrooms to sleeping areas. Others also pass the night on corridors, exposing them to mosquitoes and reptiles. As a result of the situation, a structure was put up in 2012 to deal with the worsening accommodation for students of the school. The structure has been abandoned as students struggle to get a place to lay their heads. City News checks confirmed that female students of the school change and dress in the open where they keep their belongings due to lack of space. The Yilo Krobo Municipal Chief Executive, Eric Tete, who described the situation as worrying in a City News interview, says the school needs help immediately.
The situation at the Yilo Krobo Senior High School is not the best. Ever since I assumed office as the municipal chief executive, I've visited there 3 times to look at the challenges that they face there. And so when I heard of the news, I quickly rushed to the place. And for me, 2 things. First is that there has been a massive improvement in the performance of the students ever since this present headmaster took office, especially in the sciences. And so you have a lot of people fighting for their kids to be in the school. And so you realize that the student population is very high, more than they can accommodate. If you look at the results, it is clear that now Yilo Krobo Secondary School is performing in the sciences. And those who took part in the National Maths and Science Quiz, I can tell you the result that came, all of them had 7 A's, which is very good. But I believe that the infrastructure in the school needs a lot of improvement.
The Municipal Assembly says it has also taken steps together to get funds to immediately complete the uncompleted boys' dormitory structure at the Yilo Krobo Senior High School to reduce the inhumane accommodation situation. The MCE, who happens to be an old student of the school, touching on the plight of students, called on the school authorities to reduce the intake of first years.
In the interim, the Municipal Assembly is putting in efforts to ensure that a project that's one boarding facility that was started by Get Fund some time ago, which the old students have done their best by continue with it, we will extend electricity to that place as quickly as possible to ensure that at least the students can use that place. I also think that if that's the problem, then it means that the headmaster and the staff must ensure that they control the number of people that they admit to the school, because if the people are too many that they can accommodate, then it means that they need to reduce the number, whilst we make efforts to improve that place. Therefore, as a chief executive, I'm writing a letter to get fund and the ministry to get them to come and support us, because Ilokobo Secondary School need a lot of facilities. About 2 years ago, the government gave them about 500 of the decks for the pupils to use, but it is not enough. When I visited it yesterday, I was told they still need more of the decks, at least about 600. They also need beds, and I believe that we'll do something about it.
Meanwhile, the Ilokobo Traditional Council is equally worried about the current situation, wants a concerted effort to alleviate the plight of students. Nene Tei Anyologu, the 9th, is the divisional chief of Okpe in the Ilokobo traditional area.
If you go to the boys' dormitory, you see that originally the dormitory is a wooden structure. Years back, I went there, completed 2004, and when you go today, you see that it's the same wooden structure that the children are occupying. The enrollment has also increased, and the same structure is containing the high enrollment. You see that there is so much congestion in the dormitories. If you go there at night, you see most of the students sleeping outside just because the rooms are highly heated. They are congested and there's so much heat, so you see them sleeping outside. The classroom blocks, the classrooms, the desks are not even adequate for the students. They struggle. You see some of them standing. They are struggling. The PTA tried putting up a structure for the students, but it is where it is because there is no PTA support coming through when you talk to the teachers. The situation is bad, and any little disaster that occurs, I'm telling you, it will be there. The life of the students is at stake. Their future is at stake. Not just them, but the teachers as well. We need urgent government support. This is a very big issue that one person, two people cannot do. We need government support then to help better the lives of the students.
So you had there a report found by Citi News' Neoni Amati Kanaku.
You're still listening to the Citi Prime News live from our studios at Adabraka in Accra. Still ahead in the bulletin, police arrest one person in the northern region for illegal possession of a firearm. We'll bring you details shortly. Do stay with us.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Ghana is a country that's full of historical antecedents and rich cultural heritage. What is a rich cultural heritage without soul food? And what is soul food without a touch of ethnicity? And what is ethnicity if it's not from your village? This season of all things Ghanaian is upon us, and we are here to celebrate an aspect of our Ghanaianness with the Back to Your Village Food Bazaar, happening live from the 25th to the 26th of March 2023 at the forecourt of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. Come, let's treat ourselves to delectable, authentic Ghanaian cuisine from the northern, the middle, and the southern zones of the country that reflect our true cultural diversity. While at it, we'll be jamming to genuine Ghanaian music amidst games, competitions, storytelling, and so much more. Interested vendors of indigenous foods are invited to register. Don't let this be another missed opportunity. Call 0205-973-973 to book a stand and be part of the Back to Your Village Food Bazaar 2023. Anyamime, the country make hoto. So come, let's enjoy some good food, resounding music, heartfelt camaraderie, and remind ourselves why Ghana is still our home at the Back to Your Village Food Bazaar on the 25th and the 26th of March 2023 at the forecourt of the AMA from 8 a.m. each day. The Back to Your Village Food Bazaar is powered by Citi TV with support from Citi FM and is sponsored by Voltic Ghana Limited and Malta Guinness.
More. It's something we're promised a lot these days. But what does more actually look like? Well, in Emirates Economy, it's endless entertainment on the biggest screens in the sky plus live sport. That's more. Gourmet cuisine that gives you a taste of your destination, served with free-flowing drinks. That's more. Special meals and toys for kids to keep your little explorers happy. That's more. So whichever way you look at it, more really does mean more in Emirates Economy. Fly Emirates. Fly better.
Everybody, let me see.
The Assemblies of God Ghana, just about to take a turn like never before. Join us at the Grand Arena, Accra International Conference Center on the 25th of February for the induction service of the newly elected General Superintendent, our very own Reverend Dr. Stephen Yenesom Wengam, and the outdooring of the newly elected Executive Presbytery Officers, Reverend Tito Ajay, Reverend Dr. Enes Brikran, and Reverend Dr. Simon Abubaba. There is about to be a shift, growth, and transformation as they plan to reach, rebuild, restore, reform, reposition, and rebrand the Assemblies of God Ghana. Proverbs chapter 11 verse 14. Where no counsel is, the people fall, but there is safety in the multitude of counselors. Come, let us welcome and celebrate our new Assemblies of God leaders. God bless you.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Yeah, welcome back. Now, the Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, has assured that all matured coupons will be honored after Tuesday, February 2021-2023. The minister noted that the processing of the coupon payment had delayed due to settlement period for the domestic debt exchange program. He made the revelation when the Pension Bondholders Forum called on him to express gratitude for the exemption from the debt exchange program.
There was another issue about payments of coupons, which really had come to a standstill because of the settlement period. Settlement will be after Tuesday, and then we'll begin to look at processing of everybody's. But let nobody have any inkling that anybody is going to be punished or whatever in this thing. All coupons, irrespective, will be attended to or honored, in the same way in which the contracts were signed. We are in difficult situations. That's why we are doing this debt exchange. So we hope that with this 82%, considerable amount of the interest will come down and give us a fiscal space to continue to honor whatever commitments we have with our bonds and also the process of growth for the country.
You heard the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta.
In more stories, the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees and the Ghana Refugees Board is scheduled to hold an emergency meeting next week over the plight of refugees seeking asylum in Saplega in the Boko West district of the Upper East region. Over 200 refugees have sought asylum at Saplega as a result of violent extremism in the neighborhood, Burkina Faso. Stakeholders say the situation calls for an emergency meeting to discuss and address the plights of the refugees. Our Upper East regional correspondent Frederick Awuni has more.
In recent times, activities of violent extremists in neighboring Burkina Faso have resulted in the deaths of hundreds of Burkinabés, as several others continue to flee the country for fear of being killed. Saplega in the Boko West district of the Upper East region has become a safe haven for these Burkinabe refugees. It is against the backdrop of this that the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees and the Ghana Refugee Board paid a working visit to Saplega to assess the refugee situation and find alternative ways to address their plight. The refugees have sought asylum at Saplega and have been provided with temporary shelter, which are woefully inadequate. The refugees share 2 toilet facilities and a bathroom. Children have no access to education, while their unemployed parents virtually beg to fend for their families. After an assessment of the situation, the country representative of UNHCR, the UN Refugee Agency, Madam Esther Kiragu, shared in the plight of the refugees and hinted that her outfit will soon engage Ghana government in addressing the plight of refugees.
Next week, we'll be having a stakeholders forum with government operatives, both from the capital in Accra, from the Ministry of Interior, from the Ghana Refugee Board, obviously, and UNHCR being the host, and also the authorities from this region, from Upper East and Upper West, all the way down to the district, to map out what kind of strategy we need to deal with the situation that's evolving in Burkina Faso. One pressing issue which would concern any parent is these young kids doing nothing, wasting away, teenage girls, teenage boys, not involved in any meaningful engagement. The parents have told us they would like to see them in school. And so we will talk with the community again using the community-based approach to see how we can support schools to absorb them in. There are issues of language and looking at the way they are staying. There is no shelter that is anything you could call shelter, no privacy. They are makeshift, but the one thing that really bothers me is the proximity to the Burkina Faso border, because that also has a bearing on security for them. And there's no water. There's only this one water point, but they will definitely need more. Issues to do with hygiene are a bit of a concern as well. But that's what happens when a site is not planned.
However, the executive secretary of the Ghana Refugee Board, Tete Paddy, says some concerns of the refugees will be addressed soon.
The washrooms are also not adequate, and so we need to provide assistance to them in those areas. And we are working with our partners to obtain the necessary resources to make sure that they are comfortable. There are standards that need to be met in terms of washrooms, for instance. You need to have one washroom for at most 20 people. So those calculations need to come into play, and then we make sure that all the standards are met to make sure that they are comfortable. But it's important that we mention the efforts that the communities have put in place. The communities have absorbed them, even though they themselves have very limited resources. And so it's important that the help that comes, the assistance that comes, is extended to the communities as well, to enable them continue to host them and assist them. We recognize the urgency, and so we're going to work very hard to make sure that they come as soon as possible.
In order to curb violent extremists from entering Sapeliga unnoticed, Chief of Sapeliga, Naba Ayagiba Agbangiba, says a community task force has been initiated to support security agencies apprehend questionable strangers.
I told the immigration, but he was handed up to Burkina. Because he was one of them. When they found that he was one of them, they handed him over to Burkina people. So here we don't joke with strangers. You have to report immediately when you get a stranger. If you don't report and anything happens, then the change will hold you responsible. We form work their committees who help these security people.
City News' Frederick Awuni filed that report.
We'll take you to the northern region where one person is in the grips of the police for illegal possession of a firearm. The suspect was arrested last night by some residents of Nyankpala, where there has been tension over a chieftaincy dispute. According to Citi News sources at the Northern Regional Police Command, the motive of the suspect is unknown, but residents say he was found lurking at the premises of the chief's palace. The suspect is in police custody for investigations and subsequent prosecution. Now, some municipal chief executives in Accra say their lives are at risk following threats by land guards who are illegally developing on unauthorized sites. This was revealed during an inspection tour of the drainage systems by the housing minister in Accra. In the following report, Citi News' Kweku Ediama Ansa reports that most buffers and wetlands have been encroached by private developers who have no permits to work in these areas.
It has become a ritual that every single year, individuals who live in parts of the Greater Accra region, that is the capital city of Ghana, will lose their properties worth thousands of Ghana cedis to flooding. And this is because authorities are yet to find a lasting solution to this perennial problem. Well, at some instances, some individuals also lose their lives, and that has become dire. And so the government, in anticipation that the rains may set in anytime soon, has been assessing its remedies it has put in place to see whether or not it can resist this perennial flooding. Today, the Ministry of Housing has been touring some of the drainage systems in the capital, particularly those in the flood-prone areas. And the plan is that it wants to find out that are these drains even ready to accommodate the large quantity of water that will come in when the rains fall. You know that authorities have indicated already that most of these issues that come is as a result of human activities. So, for instance, they've talked about the indiscriminate dumping of rubbish into some of the drains, which in turn chokes the drains and makes it difficult for the free flow of water into the sea. Also, another problem has been the fact that we do not have larger drains to even accommodate the rushing water whenever there is a downpour. Today, the minister has been checking on these things and also been assessing if individuals are now taking a cue and are now putting in place also measures to help go with the efforts that the government has put in place over the period. The first of all, the minister and his entourage was at the trade fair area, where we understand that some individuals have begun developing an area which is supposed to be a buffer zone. And so the minister was not happy with that, and he was interacting with the municipal chief executive for the Dekotopon municipality.
It's now becoming more like a national issue. And I think we have to get to a place where we should put together maybe a task force to assist the assemblies, just like we are doing to this Galamsey issue. This place, even this Sunday, we were here. Sometimes we have to sleep here to make sure we stop them from dumping their debris here. The police, one way or the other, assists us, but sometimes you call them and you are not getting them. Last weekend, they nearly killed one of my task force guys. They were dumping it. I was called. I rallied them. We moved there to stop them. One of the tipper drivers nearly drove into one of my task force guys. It has been a challenge in Ladadekotopon, talking about filling of the peshi. We are always on the ground. This place, I think, was done about 3-4 years back, before I became an MC. They had wanted to develop this place. We've been stopping them, fighting them. This Sunday, we were here to stop them with machines and everything. Even yesterday, we arrested about 4 or 5 tippers, and we are processing them to court. So we are seriously fighting them. But it looks like day in, day out, it's becoming like a national challenge.
What you need now is security intervention, security support. And we also do our best to let the appropriate authorities know about this. The flooding situation is as a result of human action and indiscipline. So we will need you, the media, to help us to do the advocacy.
The report was filed by Citi News' Kweku Ediama Ansa.
Now, a 6-member committee set up to investigate alleged corruption during placement of 2021 BC graduates into senior high schools has recommended an internal auditor to be given access to monitor the placement system. After interviewing 14 persons linked to the placement system, the committee also recommended the education of parents and candidates on the considerations that go into the placement of the awards. There's more in this news text report.
The computerized school selection and placement system was introduced in 2005 by the Ministry of Education and the Ghana Education Service and is used for the placement of qualified basic education certificate examination BEC candidates into public second cycle institutions. It was, among other things, intended to address the widespread allegations of corruption and unfairness that characterized the SHS admission process in the past. However, since its inception, the credibility of the program has been questioned, as there have been several complaints of alleged corruption from parents and the general public. In 2021, there were similar complaints of allegations of corruption against officials. As a result, the then Director General of the Ghana Education Service, Professor Kwesi Opoku-Amankwah, called on the National Investigative Bureau and the Criminal Investigative Department, CID, of the Ghana Police Service to conduct a comprehensive investigation into the allegations. The Minister for National Security, in a letter dated 8 April 2022, requested the Ministry of Education to investigate the allegations and sanction culpable persons accordingly. The Acting Chief Director of the Ministry of Education, based on this, set up a 6-member committee to investigate the allegations of corruption at the CSSPS during the 2021 placement of BEC candidates. In all, 14 persons, including the Minister of Education, Dr. Yao Osei Educhum, former Director General of the GES, Professor Kwesi Opoku-Amankwah, and CSSPS Coordinator Mark Sosu-Mensah were interviewed. Also, the Free SHS Coordinator William Dakwa, as well as the CEO and software engineer of the software used for the placement, were interviewed. The committee found out that no parent was willing to come out clear with evidence of bribing any officer to place their wards in their schools of choice. It also indicated that the annual placement is shrouded in secrecy and not transparent. One person was arrested for attempting to bribe officers at the placement center at the Nat Hall in Accra. The Category A assets were delegated to other staff to work on Category A issues on behalf of the Minister and DG of GES. However, their identities were not disclosed to the committee. The committee, after 8 sittings, recommended that there should be a follow-up on the case of attempted bribery pending with the police and the perpetrators prosecuted if possible. Also, those who have access to place students should be given strict instructions for compliance on their do's and don'ts. They also recommended an independent person, for example, an internal auditor, to be given access to monitor the placement when it goes live and report independently to the minister through the chief director. They also recommended that the system should always be audited before the data is archived.
So you had there Zoe Abubeidoado with a news desk report on findings and recommendations of a committee set up to investigate CSSPS bribe allegations.
Now, the National Labour Commission, NLC, has summoned the Senior Staff Association of NEDCO to a meeting on Monday, February 20, 2023, following demands for the resignation of their MD, Osmani Aludiba Ayuba. The workers had petitioned the National Labour Commission to protest the continuous stay in office of the MD, who they say is not competent to run the affairs of NEDCO. NEDCO workers have been protesting over this for weeks. And that's how we end the Citi Prime News, which has been live from our studios at Adabraka in Accra. For more news, you can log on to our website, citinewsroom.com. I am Wilma Ubuobi-Sakoman, and this afternoon I was here with
Kweku Ediamansa.
Up next is the afternoon's edition of the Citi Business News with Michael Ogbodumini. Thanks